Okay, everyone. So today in class we read the breakfast program where we met Crazy Kelvin and we met the Black Panthers. So today we're going to read Even the Earth is a Revolutionary. I'm going to put up my screen mask. Once breakfast was over, most of us the kids left, except a dozen who stayed behind, including us. I told my sisters we might as well stick around for the summer camp program. Cecile had made it clear that she didn't want to see us anytime soon, so we went with Sister Makumbu. So we told Sister Makumbu our names and followed her and Sister Pat, the young woman in a Cal State t-shirt, into the classroom. I felt silly calling a grown person brother so-and-so or sister such-and-such, but thanks to Cecile, we now had brothers and sisters we had never laid eyes on. Sure, they said brother and sister in Brooklyn, but it was more of a title here than you were saying him or her. As far as I could tell, none of the grown people at the center went by Mr. or Mrs. or Miss. If Big Ma had seen how quickly our home training had flown out the window, she would have had us on the next Boeing 727 to New York. There was something about Sister Makumbu, who I liked right away. If Sister Makumbu had met us at the airport, we would have felt welcome as she stepped forward to claim us. She would have wrapped us up in her green, purple, orange African print dress and begged our forgiveness for having left us. We sat at one of the two long tables. The classroom was unlike any I had ever been in. Instead of pictures of George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and President Johnson, there was a picture of Huey Newton sitting in a black wicker chair with a rifle beside him. This is a very famous photo. I'm actually going to share you right now. I don't know how to change it. I will show you the picture in class. There were other people of mostly black men and women hung up around the room. I expected to find Dr. Martin Luther King's photograph hanging on the wall, but I was disappointed. Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali were the only faces I could name. I didn't know any of the women. Although one woman looked just like Big Ma. Next to her pictures were the words, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." On the walls there were big, lined papers written in the teacher's neat handwriting. The first one said, "What we want," in green letters, and the other one on the other side of the room, another said, "What we believe." Vanetta didn't seem to care that we were in some sort of Black Panther summer camp, learning to become Black Panthers. Her attention was fixed on the three sisters in flared sleeve dresses and their round, curly afros. I knew I would hear about that later. How it was a time for her to have a new hairstyle, and that our clothes were baby clothes. Sister Makumbu said Hirahoto Woods, a boy from the other side of the table with dark spiky hair, brown coppery skin, and slanted eyes, groaned. He was probably my age. Sister Makumbu smiled in spite of his groaning. She beckoned him to her side, her many bracelets jangling as she waved them in front of him. Hirahoto will help with my demonstration. I didn't have to turn to see Vanetta's mile-long pout. It was just like Vanetta to be envious of someone else being in the spotlight. Hirahoto didn't seem thrilled. He pulled his chair backwards, scraping the floor, and went sullenly to the front. It was only the back of his spiky head that I recognized him from the flying T-board rider that nearly mowed us down yesterday. I had half a mind to sock him good, so that means she's gonna, hit him, why did you do that? Sister Makumbu said, "I'm going to be the sun, and Hirahoto will be the earth." She leaned, whispering something in his ear. He heaved a heavy sigh, like he didn't want to do whatever it was that she told him to do anyway. The sighing was for us kids, so he didn't come off as some type of teacher's pet. Sister Makumbu nodded firmly. "Now, Hirahoto." He heaved another sigh through the big rumble and began to turn slowly, every time taking a step to travel around Sister Makumbu, who just stood there and smiled. This was better than socking him in the arms. Watching him turn around and around in his black and silver Raiders jersey, he looked down and probably felt silly. All the kids in the program, including me and my sisters, giggled. So I can infer that Hirohito is probably a little embarrassed because all the girls are laughing at him. Sister Makumbum's wasn't bothered by our giggling or Hirohito sighing. She said the earth turns slowly on its axis, always while also spinning around the sun. Day wouldn't change to night if the earth didn't spin on its axis. The seasons wouldn't change if the earth didn't travel around the sun. This means the vegetation wouldn't grow, so like fruits and veggies wouldn't grow. Means poor farmers couldn't harvest, and poor people couldn't eat. The earth didn't spin on its axis and travel around the sun. The one body's spinning in motion affects everyone's lives. Does anyone know another word for the earth's constant spinning? I knew how Sister Makumbum was a real teacher, aside from her welcoming smile and her blackboard penmanship. So that's how she writes on a board. She asks teacher types of questions. The kind that say, join in. Thanks to my time set with Merriam-Webster, the dictionary, I had a few words in mind. Rotating, orbiting, turning, circling. I wanted to join in, but I felt silly. Being one of the older kids, not as silly as Hirohito spinning around, but too old to wave my hand frantically, as all the younger kids were around me were doing. And the older sister of 3 girls also sat on her answer. She probably knew too, but left it up to her sisters, not wanting to be called on. When one of the kids called out, revolving, Sister Makumbum clapped her hands. Her bangles jangled. So those are her bracelets. Yes, all of your words are right, but revolving is right on. Sister Pat gave them a cookie. Sister Makumbum said revolving, revolution, revolutionary, constant turning, making things change. Sister Pat said Huey Newton is a revolutionary. Huey makes change. Sister Makumbum continued. Che Guevara was a revolutionary. Che makes change. As they named other revolutionaries who made change, Hirohito came to a complete stop. He held out his hands, a dizzy Frankenstein, and staggered to his chair. The boy who won a cookie said, nice spinning, Twinkle Toes. Hirohito rested his hands and closed his eyes. I thought, serves you right. Sister Makumbum announced, today we're going to be like Earth, spinning around and affecting many. Today we're going to think about our part in the revolution. Vanetta's hand shot up. I kicked her under the table, but she was determined to have everyone look at her. So one of Vanetta's character traits seems to be kind of like it's not confident. She like is very showy. She wants everyone to notice her. I'm sorry, which meant everyone would look at us. I forgot about Hirohito and was now afraid that Vanetta would say next, and what Vanetta would say next, and sure enough, Vanetta said, we didn't come for a revolution, we came for breakfast, and Fern said, and to meet our mother in Oakland. If Hirohito's spinning made us giggle, Vanetta's declaration made everyone laugh, except my sisters and me, and the still dizzy Hirohito. Full out laugh. The group of girls whom Vanetta had been winking at were the main cacklers. Even Sister Makumbum, caught off guard by Vanetta and Fern's outburst, allowed herself to chuckle. I don't blame Vanetta and Fern, since I didn't want the world to learn we didn't rightfully know our mother. Fern wouldn't have uttered a word if Vanetta hadn't raised her hand to speak. Even worse, Vanetta had thrown a king-sized monkey wrench into my plans. I had hoped to ask Sister Makumbum about the Black Panthers, about the name the Black Panthers had called Cecile, and why they called her that. So, Enzila. Right, she wants to know why Cecile's called Enzila. But I didn't know exactly how I would have asked her, but something made me believe she would know, and she wouldn't make me feel bad for asking. She wouldn't have given me that, oh, you poor motherless girl, pity look, or the snooty, you don't even know your own mother's name. Sister Makumbum would have given me a plain, pure, teacherly truth. And Vanetta raised her hand and opened her mouth, and all the world was looking and laughing at us, except the boy who was too dizzy to laugh. I wasn't about to add any fuel to the fire by asking questions about things I should know, like my mother's name. So that's the end of this chapter.